Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Today, working on the Volvo. So we're going to be ditching the factory generator for a nice GM style alternator. So I've got two of these. They're the same case, functionally. One's an actual AC Delco, one's a Duralast. I remember that one of these has an issue with it, and I don't really remember which, so I'm going to probably be sticking one on, and hopefully that's the one that works. If not, I'll change to the other. But the wiring and the bracketry should all be the same. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is disconnect the battery and then remove the generator. I've labeled the wires just in case, because you never know. We are eventually going to actually be removing this guy. This is the voltage regulator. Since alternators are internally regulated, they don't need an external regulator, or at least the ones that I'm using. So yeah, basically just take those wires off and pull the alternator out. That's pretty basic. Alright, one generator for the bin. Right, so with the generator off, we can see the factory bracket, which mounts to the block like so. If we're lucky, we can actually just stick the alternator in right here and use the use some spacers to take up the gap. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll just take this off and I'll make a bracket that uses the same mounting location as well, and go from there. Okay, so here's the bracket, and unfortunately this isn't going to work for a few reasons. One of which, I actually need this to be out about a 1/4 inch more so that the belts are lined up. And two, we need this to be a little bit further away from the block and a little bit higher. So the alternator, instead of being there, is going to sit probably about right here. So I'm going to start by tracing this guy. I'll make a little cardboard template. And our inner face is right there. We're going to want it to be about there. So that's going to be our fold line. And I'm really just eyeballing this, but I want it to be about there and up about there. That's going to be the center of my hole. I can kind of put it wherever. There's a lot of wiggle room, so in this case the eyeballing is okay. Just that. And make sure that's a little bit scalloped. I don't want it to foul. I don't want any part of this to foul on the edge right there. Alright, pull these guys out. And I can't. Let's see, maybe a normal pen will work. Nope. Hey, there's a pencil. That way I can mark my holes. Now the factory one uses these little isolator grommet bushing guys. We don't need that, so I'm not going to use it. And that also makes it drastically more complicated. So this, I think, is going to be our bracket. So I'm just going to cut that out, and then we'll find a piece of sheet or a piece of metal to make that out of. All right, get it all cut out. This is probably the best piece of metal I've found. It's a little bit thick. I think this is a 1/4 inch thick, so it'll definitely suffice. The issue is it's not quite wide enough, but I've got a lot of meat on the bottom of this, so what I'm going to do is probably roughly trace the shape, and then scooch this guy down a little bit, and then center punch my holes. So it's not going to be exactly like my template, but the template is kind of just a starting point, so let's go with that. And I'm also going to stick this down with some magnets. It's another trick I've learned. Again, I'm going to scooch this down. And I don't even really need to, I don't actually even need to make this an interesting shape, but, I want to. That looks right. Cool. Alright, got my center punch and hammer. Just put that directly on the work table. Alright, I'm also going to mark this guy. And take my square and mark that. So that's going to be my bend line. Just for good measure, I'm going to scribe it with a carbide scribe. That way, if the Sharpie rubs off, I'll still be able to see it. But before I cut out the interesting shape, I'm going to drill those holes on the drill press, because it's a lot easier to clamp this in a drill press vise while it's still square. Now I'm going to do a vertical cut, kind of an angle and an angle. That way I've got some relief to bend this, and then we're going to weld it. And if I had a press brake, I could probably have just used that, but no. So doing it the old school way. I want something, a little assistance on this. goes the disc sander, finally spooling down. Alright, so there we go. It's not quite 90, so I might go a little bit more. But the thing to remember is that when I weld the inside corner, it's going to draw it in just a little bit. Yeah, still a little obtuse, but pretty good. Looks like a 92 degrees, something like that. Anywho, now there's another missing piece, because obviously we've got one end right here, but we want another piece to pick up the actual alternator. So another bit to cut and shape, and then I can weld that on. Okay, so this is the other piece that I made, and unfortunately, if I were to put it the width of the piece of the alternator, it would land right around there, and then I wouldn't get a bolt in. So we're going to use this spacer behind the alternator. You can see right there. So yeah, that would be too close. So I'm going to run it with this spacer. And oddly enough, this spacer plus the alternator is almost about the same width as this wrist pin. So I'm going to use this as a spacer. Alright, got that one ready to go. Alright, it's a little hard to see with that one, but yep, that is attached. So now all I gotta do is let it cool and hit it with some paint. And so here we go, got the bracket all painted up and it's cured overnight. So just gonna mount this up and start wiring in the alternator. Alright, got it in and it fits. I did need to grab a different belt because the belt that I had, or the stock belt, was a little bit too short. So this one I'm going to need to replace at some point, but this is just a used belt I had in my stash that was like a couple inches longer. And I think I'm going to go for one that's just a little bit longer than this, because we're pretty close to the exhaust right there, and I don't really want to, like, you know, cook the electronics on this guy. But now it's mounted, so all we've got to do is wire it up. So as far as wiring up the new alternator, there's really only two real connections for most of these guys. One of them is this post right here. That post is going to go to the battery or just to the rest of the positive 12 volt system. Then we've got a little pigtail. If you don't want to grab a pigtail, you can just use some spade connectors, but this does make it easy. This guy is going to clip in there. Our red wire, the one kind of facing down right here, that's going to go to our positive 12 volt and just basically loop back on itself. So this guy will go to our keyed ignition, the warning light, and that'll give power to basically energize the rest of the alternator. and then also tell you that it's actually charging. The old system, we have this little box right here, and I am not too familiar with how this works, but seemingly this is probably our normal 12 volt. I'll have to check this. And then this is probably our keyed ignition. It goes through this regulator box of magic, and then we've got we've got 3 wires coming out. So really we're just going to remove all of this because we don't need it, and then I'm going to tie these guys to the alternator, assuming they do what I think they do. Alright, I did a quick little test and did confirm what I thought. So this is in fact the main battery. All I did was reconnect the battery and touch it, and my test light was illuminated. This one is in fact our ignition warning light. That's a little harder to see because there's a lot of resistance in the bulb that illuminates the warning light, so it doesn't necessarily light up the test light. But so you touch the test light to it, it's not lighting. If it did light, then we'd know. Then after that I would just take this and I would ground it. And with the ignition on, when you ground it, the ignition warning light, in this case it says amps, comes on. So that means that this is in fact the one that's going to that warning light. So I've just got it routed up to the white that comes out of the alternator, and that's it. So really all I got to do is throw the radiator back in, because that was out for something else, and then fire it up and confirm that we've got an alternator. Alright, radiator's in. Time to fire it up and see if it charges. Alright. Oh. Helps if you connect the battery first. Alright, ready to go. Got the choke pulled. Now you see our amp light is on. It's been a while since I've run this car. Gonna grab some Go Juice. Well, the light's not going off, so that's a bit of a problem. And we're not actually charging. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. It might actually be that is the bad alternator. So I'm gonna swap out to the other one and see if it works. Alright, take 2 with the other alternator. And the light goes out. And if you can see, we've got 14, 15 volts. So she's charging. That other one's the brake warning light. It just has a bad switch on it, so I'm not too worried about that. But now I've got a good charging system, so this car is good to go. Maybe I'll start driving it to work soon. Alright, that's going to be it for today. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Basic, standard, GM, so we're going to be ditching the factory generator for a nice GM style alternator.